do, and welcome back to the Flagrant 3 podcast. Today's episode in partnership with Harman Coaching Systems. Train like an athlete, perform like a warrior. It's your boy Snaz back at it again with across the way, of course, as always, Mr. Feeling Too Good.
What's going on, big boy?
What you saying?
Loving life.
And he's back. He's back. Number 3, the man in the middle, Mystic Mike. What are you saying, boy?
I'm the Scotty Pippen of podcast.
Welcome back, my G. We've missed you.
Thank you.
I hope you've listened to the podcast.
I have.
Because,
I've been
because
tuned.
we've been slating the shit out of you.
You weren't there to, so that's fine. That's fine.
Speaking of slating the shit out of you, let's get straight into the No Goats tournament.
2K.
2K. Oh man, this has been so fucking fun to watch. So fun.
Yeah, it's been good
It's been
fun.
ridiculous. Obviously,
We'll have to get the next year. Get the live stream, I
we're
think.
going to have to.
Yeah, because it is good.
Man, we need to book a hall as well and get together and get on it.
A cinema.
Yeah, and
Book
and
out a
do
movie
this,
screen.
because This
Like that
has
shit
been
up.
mad. I've been on the edge of my bed screaming. It's not normally 2K that does that to me. But yeah, so first round, the Feeling Fury had a bit of a mare.
I mean, we
was
pulled it
thinking
out.
We were going to get a sweep. I
We-
think the first
yeah.
round was all sweeps.
But I'm going up against the number one pick team. I mean, we pulled it out. That's all that matters.
It was a
2-1.
good series.
2-1. We advance. We move on. We
And
keep
then-
it moving. Keep it pushing.
Then of course we had Don't Doubt the Clout and Ramen Harmon.
Yeah, that was
That was an embarrassing series for
our partner. Yeah, sorry, bro.
Better luck next year, son, because that was a straight sweep. And first round, last series was myself and Mystic Mike, the Snazzy Oops versus the Mystics, and you got swept. Mate.
I didn't pick the team.
To be fair, I got matched up with a geezer who picked my team for me. So, and I saw some of the rotations. I would not have started that starting 5. I don't know what you're doing. I'm pretty sure you even put like Alan Iverson at centre or something. You know, naturally like that. And I saw some of the fucking video highlights.
Man, I gave you a good squad because I took some of my names off of my list to give to you.
Yeah, the midgets.
Bearing in mind, I did you dirty with the ball handling. And
the
it
shooting.
was very
And the shooting. You know.
it was very much Allen Iverson and Kyrie dribbling out the 24 down to like 6 seconds left and then whamming up some waff shot. But you know, next year maybe you'll be about. So and second round
Second round is underway.
I have of course descended into ascended even, not descended.
Ascended,
I've
yeah.
ascended into the finals. Snazzy Oops is about to get this trophy, of course. And series tie between Doubt the Clout and Feeling Fury. One apiece, game 3 coming later.
Can't believe I'm being done like this.
Adam has put together an
Do you know what my
OP
theory
team.
is? My theory is he's got the most active players on his roster, and 2K obviously they're into what's in their game this year. So surely the active players, not the legends, are the ones they put the time and the energy into. Therefore, the algorithm on the game then makes them better than legends.
Mate, it's just ridiculous.
Anyways, we got one game left, and I'm
watching,
gonna
like,
kill
our
it.
team's like struggling to keep up with him. That's the killer, and D Wade for him is just goated. The geezer's scoring like 20 a game.
But 2006 D Wade was top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier.
But yeah, let's leave No Goats in the past.
Let's move on to
We're
some
gonna-
real
We're going to
shit.
touch on that next week when, of course, I win. And what you got for us this week? You got a little questionano.
Me?
Yeah.
What we starting with? The pre-season? You want to look at the pre-season?
You want to start with pre-season?
Oh, how you feeling about it?
Uh,
Chicago.
Chicago looked good, but like you said earlier, playing scrubs. You know,
Yeah,
playing
I mean,
against scrubs,
that-
but it will help the chem, I think.
I get it, but at the end of the day, as I said, you know, they are still professional athletes, and they're up 40, and it's not like DeRozan and Lonzo and Vucevic. I don't think Vucevic has even played.
I think he has.
And Levine, they're not playing 48
Levine's
minutes.
played a lot.
Yeah,
He
Levine's
about
played a
20
lot.
minutes a game,
Yeah,
which
that's
for
what I'm saying.
pre-season's heavy.
Yeah,
That is heavy for pre-season.
average, but still being up 40 is tight.
I think he's going to be one to watch this year.
Who, Levine? Levine. Whatever you call him.
Levine.
Yeah, I do think he could have this. Well, he's in the place now with Lonzo distributing the ball, and DeRozan obviously taking heat off of Levine.
Well, yeah, he's not the only guy now. So
No.
I think you put a great player in that situation, he's going to shine.
He is still he should still be the vocal point of that team.
Yeah.
Everything should run through him. Effectively, he should be the front man.
Yeah.
But I like it. I really like it. I mean, defensively, I don't know what they're going to do. None of them are. Lonzo's a decent perimeter defender. They all play the lanes. Vucevic, can he be the one in the middle, the big man in the middle? I don't know. But offensively, they're quick.
Yeah,
they're out and they're gunning, and I like it.
It's nice to see Chicago.
One minute I'm thinking they could win the East, and the next minute I'm thinking they might not make the playoffs. So I'm a little like off flip heavy.
I think this year you just got to kind of roll with it because they're not going to reach their.
I'd like to see Lonzo break out. I don't really think he's had the opportunity. Like he done well in New Orleans.
Lonzo won't break out. It's too guard heavy. They're way too guard heavy. The ball's going to go through scoring wise. Levine, second option probably going to be DeRozan. You're going to see Lonzo playing more playmaker, but he's not going to be a.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like obviously,
guard,
the shots that he will be taking in that situation of being a pass first, he is a pass first point guard anyways. But the shots that he's going to be taking are going to be more. He's in the best opportunity to shoot, so he's going to shoot if he's open. Whereas, because he's got so many options,
he's got so many different options now.
I mean, he can pick and roll with DeRozan, Levine, and Vucevic quite nicely. Who they put in that power forward position is.
What I'd like to see is obviously DeRozan's got his own mid-range game. We know that works well for him, so he's going to play his game. Levine's just an amazing shot creator. He's going to create his own shots. You know that's going to happen. I'd love to see Lonzo and Vucevic build a bit of chemistry.
This is what I'm saying.
Those two alone, and just leave the other two to do what they need to do best. Because if Lonzo just focus on building a relationship with one of those big guys, that could be dangerous.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because the passing kicks, or even if you're doing the pick and rolls, that's going to create a lot of opportunities. If they try and make it too complicated, and try and get chemistry across the whole team, and try and get everyone in doing certain. I don't think it's going to work for them. I think they're going to have to play very either fast break basketball and break out and leak out. If not, run into the pick and rolls and pick and pop situations.
Yeah. That was what I was kind of concerned with, was their offense would probably end up being 90% fast break type offense.
I mean, Levine's a good shooter. DeRozan, from mid, he's fine, but elsewhere, meh. Lonzo, he's a streaky shooter, but, pre-season looks good, but we like to overreact in pre-season, don't we?
It.
We all love a bit of overreaction.
It's all about how they're looking come January onwards.
Yeah,
for me.
of course. Like after the All-Star break, the playoff push. Playoff push after the All-Star break is when teams really turn it on.
Yeah.
If they're not at the top end of the playoff bracket. Anyways, who else do you like the look of pre-season? Player. Can I throw one out there?
Go.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Looking good, yeah.
Does look really good. Promising third year. I like it.
I'm liking how Golden State are looking coming into this season. Klay Thompson.
Well, this is the problem. Yeah, when Clay comes back, they're saying January. Where does Jordan Poole fit in then? But
come on, you got Klay Thompson.
This is what I'm saying. Where does he fit in there? But he looks good, man.
I mean, being Klay Thompson, it's nice to have that kind of fallback. If you coming back, it's your first 3-4 games since your injury. If you're having an off game, the team's not going to suffer a hell of a lot because you have got a decent sub to come in and clean up.
I'll throw one out there, and it's just kind of give a little bit of an insight to a future segment. James Bouknight.
Yes.
James Bouknight looks like he's nothing too flashy and special, but he's a scorer. He knows how to put the ball in the basket in all different situations, and that's what I like about him. He's not afraid to attack the rim. He's got a decent jumper on him. It needs work, but he's got a decent jumper on him. But yeah, for me, James Bouknight, I think he got 20 points in one of the actual pre-season games, and it looked quite effortless for him as well. Like, do you know what I mean? He wasn't really stressing. Had a couple of decent jams on a couple of people as well. So yeah, for me, wild card James Bouknight. If you're looking at fantasy teams, go late into your drafts.
Yeah,
could be a shoo-in.
That's a good pick.
I was thinking this earlier. I was having a conversation with somebody who's joined, somebody who was going to join our fantasy league, about which rookies would you pick up later on out of this draft class. You know, would you pick up a Cade Cunningham fairly early, being he's prospected to be a franchise player?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of rookies would you look at for your team if you're obviously talking about Bouknight?
I wouldn't pick up Cade Cunningham purely because there's nothing else on the Detroit roster.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
But this is what I'm saying. So if you can,
he's not going to be as impactful this year. 3 years down the line, when he's had a couple of years to integrate himself, and maybe they picked up a few more.
But when we're looking at like picks 10, 11, and 12,
yeah,
when you're left with, you know, the Brandon Knights of the league in your draft class, what would you? This is what I'm saying. Would you rather take a rookie?
So for a fantasy, and people who play fantasy will probably understand this a bit more. I'm probably taking as a rookie someone like Evan Mobley, someone who's going to get a higher field goal percentage, because you don't know how Cade Cunningham's going to shoot the ball. And you don't know what he's going to be like from the free throw line if he gets there that much. So he can really damage you if he goes 1 for 12 one night, because he's a rookie and the pressure's on him to make the buckets because he's the number one pick. Whereas Evan Mobley, he's playing with a good young roster and he's a big, so all his baskets are going to come from inside. Rebounds are going to be there because he's going to be, apart from Jarrett Allen, probably the second best rebounder in the team. You know, block-wise, everyone knows Evan Mobley coming out of college. He's a long guy. He's renowned for blocks and stuff like that, and working alongside Jarrett Allen as well, who's also got a good record for blocking and defence. He's going to pick things up really quickly. I don't think Cade Cunningham right now has a player to look at and go, teach me, mentor me.
That's my vet.
That's my vet to learn.
Yeah, I'm not specifically talking about Cade on his own.
Just,
I get what you're saying about Evan Mobley. You sound like you're high on the Cavs this year, bro. What are you saying?
I'm not high.
Quick 180. But the thing is, he's going to get more minutes. And be a bigger deal for a team like the Cavs.
Yeah, I feel you. Same with Green down in Houston.
Yeah,
you know,
and Wagner for Orlando. So Orlando don't really have many players that spring out to you that go, yep, that's our star. So there's going to be a lot of rotations in these like smaller teams.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've learned from fantasy and picking things up is try and stay away from rookie guards. Try and stay away from rookie guards, because it's going to be a massive adjustment for them. It's a bigger adjustment than it is for the bigs who are ready to come into the league. Like, turnovers are going to be a factor, shooting percentage is going to be a factor. So unless you're in a team where you're going to walk in and you know you've got people around you that you can obviously rely on, then you're going to be a good pickup. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I feel you, bro.
But when you're looking at people who went later in the draft, like Jalen Suggs, for example, he's going to struggle. So I wouldn't pick him up. I'd probably go, if I'm doing fantasy, I'll probably go more of a vet than a rookie at this stage, because you know what you're getting with a vet.
Yeah, the rookies aren't consistent enough to be picked up in a fantasy, I don't think.
No. But
we'll see.
Unless they're like...
This time next week we'll be drafting it up, man.
Yeah, this is true. Oh, man, that's come around quick.
Yeah, I know. 19th, the season tips off, bro. I'm pumped for that. Pumped for that. You see the NBA Lane advert?
Mm-hmm. That looks dope.
That looks
dope.
That is dope.
Really good.
Missing one key guy out there.
He don't never do none of that.
No.
He doesn't do that stuff. You talking about Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do that stuff.
Jordan, but the B.
That's why though. Michael Jordan don't do nothing, man. If it's not for him or his companies, he don't do it.
I mean, I was just a little.
That's why everyone was so shocked about. I was a little
disappointed because I was like, you got Magic, you got Bird,
yeah.
You got
everybody.
Hakeem, you got everyone. Even fucking Bill Russell. The geezer must take about
Bill
4
Russell's
hours
always
to
there.
stand
But that's
up.
what I'm saying. Like Michael Jordan's never at an NBA game unless it's the Hornets game.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that stuff, which is weird. When you're considered the greatest ever.
Yeah.
It's weird that you don't give back to your...
Do you think that basketball, he feels like basketball owes him as opposed to he owes basketball in that respect?
What do you mean? Like he feels he's bigger than basketball?
Basically, bigger than the NBA. Because he basically, for a lot of NBA players
I don't think that.
Him. I'm not saying.
Maybe he's just too much. Maybe he's just too much of a businessman. Like, you know, them guys are all employed by the NBA, aren't they? So it's like, well, this is your duty to turn up, Michael Jordan. I'm not employed by the NBA. I'm an owner.
True. Or maybe he had 18 holes to play with $1 million on it or $1 million on it, and he couldn't make
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Closest to the pin on the 13th.
Rocking with chump change anymore.
No. But anyways, the NBA lane's probably one of the better. I've watched it quite a few times. It's really
I enjoyed it.
That Kobe scene really. It's like, oh, that's right in the feels.
Oh,
yeah.
man, proper.
Right in the feels.
They did it.
The salute.
The thing is, right, they had a good amount of energy towards it as well, but they also had a good amount of respect and sort of like, you know,
paying homage.
Yeah, exactly. What people have done for the game as well. So
yeah,
right, I thought it was a good way to put out the 75 year.
75 years. 75 years, eh?
Fucking madness.
Mental.
What
Well, anyways,
were you guys doing 75 years ago?
I was just getting up for work. Right, vaccine talk.
Oh.
Mr. Irving,
Oh.
the Brooklyn Nets, the out-and-out favourites of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you sit with my friend Kyrie?
Go on, Mike.
Yeah, you drafted him.
I will refrain.
That's
from...
your guy.
You
I
drafted
should have
him.
taken him out. I should have taken him out. For your
I will
home game.
refrain from swearing on this podcast for the time being, but I did not draft that guy.
You drafted him twice. You drafted him in the no-goes, and you drafted him for Cleveland. Your Cleveland. That's your team. You drafted
that's
him.
before he was just a bit
Before he
screw
lost.
loosed.
Yeah.
So I get it's a weird one. I kind of get why he's not getting vaccinated for the time being, because I know a few years back he did convert to Islam, didn't he? So, for a religious standpoint, I can see where that might be. He doesn't believe in vaccinations and anything that's artificial. Fair play. From an NBA standpoint, if your job is reliant on you getting a vaccine, sometimes you have to go. And I know, I was doing a bit of research into it. I know that the religious standpoint of Islam was saying that you can get a vaccine. It's not going to be anything that's going to be sort of like frowned upon. So I think now it's just gone down to a point of choice for Kyrie. And now just stubbornness, and I think he just loves being different.
This is the issue. He does
being different.
He does love to
Shake
break
things
away
up.
from the crowd.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you were vaccinated. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, your team requires it
Don't tell me what to
to
do.
play. Yeah, literally.
Do you know what I mean?
Literally.
Do not tell me what to do.
It's a damn shame, because very much like what we said about who was it last week? Yeah,
Wiggins.
Wiggins, yeah. It's only going to affect his career in a very, very negative way. I get it. Religious beliefs above everything else. That's
Absolutely.
your way of life. We respect that. However, like Mike said, they've come forward and said, look, you can crack on with this. It's not going to affect.
It's for the greater good.
Yeah. It's not going to affect how you appear to your religion. That's cool. But Kyrie Irving is one of these guys that if his back is against the wall, he will just turn around and go, right, I'm done. I'll retire now. I've got a ring. I'm a fucking millionaire. I'm out. And, you know, he's going to could lose up to 15 mil this season.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And I mean, I would back him if his religion come forth and said, you cannot do this, it's against his human rights.
Well, this is his point, isn't it? His point is it is against his human rights.
And it is essentially. However,
but these are the citations that New York
the
State
NBA's
have
not
put
going,
in.
We're going to sack you if you don't get it. The NBA are being very smart with how they're wording it. You cannot play in your home.
You can't practice.
You cannot practice.
And obviously,
he did turn up to practice, didn't he?
Yeah, it was an outdoor practice.
Yeah,
wasn't
outdoor
it?
practice he turned up to, wearing a mask and all that. Yeah.
I mean, ridiculous.
I think KD didn't recognise him at first.
But it was like an open practice. I think it was more for show, wasn't it? Because none of them were even kicked up. They was all wearing flats, and Travis Scotts and stuff.
But
anyways,
like, and kind of like what we said before. Say you get Knicks, first round of the playoffs.
You can't play at all.
You can't play.
No.
say they get them in the second round for whatever.
And Los
reason, New York
Angeles
gets through the first round.
The city of Los Angeles
LA.
has just put out that they're doing the same thing now. So can't play LA. So if it was a Brooklyn LA finals,
and even a Brooklyn Golden State final,
couldn't do that.
You can, and those are two teams where you would need Kyrie to play. Like, undoubtedly. So he's got to think about this.
So do you think either before the season starts, which is very, very close, or at some point during the season, do you think he will get vaccinated, or do you think he's going to stick to his guns and potentially damage his career?
If someone's going to stick to their guns in this situation, it's going to be Kyrie.
I personally think if he doesn't get vaccinated, you won't not see him at home games. You won't see him at all. Brooklyn and Steve Nash and the front office will say you're not playing this year, unless the New York State or the city of New York pull the limitations on the vaccine, which I can't see happening for obvious reasons.
Can he
even
train?
on away games.
Can he practice or not practice?
Well, they was going to move their practice. They was going to move their practices elsewhere to allow Kyrie to be a part of it. And then they was like, well, we're going to pay out all this money to go somewhere else. We've got all the facilities ourselves. We need our facilities.
Just for one player. And again, that's playing into his hands. If you're going to make that adjustment, you're proving him right.
I think all the while, Kevin Durant's fine with it. James Harden probably not so much. They don't really care. But all the while, Kevin Durant's fine with whatever Kyrie's doing. Then Brooklyn will allow him to do what he's got to do. But the second Kevin says, you got to get vaccinated or you're gone, that's when it will move.
Yeah, and I mean, it comes down to Kyrie cares about stuff more than basketball.
Yeah.
Whereas KD only cares about basketball. So you got those two conflicting personalities on the team. It's as long as everyone's playing ball, we're all right. You do whatever the fuck you want outside the gym.
Do you know what? I think Kyrie could go down as one of the biggest. I mean, if he continues the way he's going, I think Kyrie could go down as one of the biggest what ifs ever, because he could have been one of the best point guards to ever, top 5 point guards to ever have played the game.
Well, I can tell you now, if he loses money on the £50 million contract, I can't wait for the documentary in 10 years. He's going to make a lot of money on that documentary. Yeah, Jesus.
But hey, that's Kyrie. Kyrie. We all knew over the past few years. He started to get weirder and weirder.
He's an enigma, isn't he? You just don't understand him. He's there, but he's not there.
Yeah.
He's to be seen, but never heard. It's just like, oh.
He turns up.
Unfortunately, he's too overheard. That's his problem. He's a media frenzy at this point now, isn't he? He's just the media are just all cameras are pointed at him because it's going to make headlines.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No. He won't bite his tongue and he won't hold back what he has to say. So the media just straight up target him.
Yeah, straight up.
You know, it's the easiest way to get a story, you know what I mean?
But what he's got to remember is that he was put in that position by the NBA.
Yeah.
He didn't put himself in that position. The NBA gave him that platform. They gave him everything that he wants to do for the world, which is great. And he's got a heart of gold for it. Everything was provided by the NBA.
Yeah, I would just like to say for anyone listening that we're not bashing what Kyrie does outside the gym, because what he does in the gym and out the gym are two fantastic things. Like, what did he build schools in India or something like that? It's
just his the way he comes across in saying his things. He doesn't articulate himself very well at all.
That's his problem. Is the communication is just. He comes across as like quite ignorant to what people are saying to him, but he's not. He knows what he's saying, and he cannot get his point across. Yeah. But fingers crossed that it works out, because I'd love to see Kyrie in the finals again.
Yeah.
Knock down another big shot.
I would like to move on.
Okay.
I want us to pick 2 teams from each conference that we think are gonna. People ain't really shining a light on. We think are going to be a bit dark horses. And I'm not talking about winning it all, or, you know, maybe they're coming from like 10, 11, 12 to make the playoffs. Who you got?
Just doing better than expectations, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll kick it off with the West. Charlotte Hornets.
That's the East.
Charlotte Hornets.
Do you know what? I'm jumping on this with you because I really, really think we're going to see good things out of Charlotte.
I think we do.
I hope so, because they've got a good.
Gordon
young
Hayward was
core.
out a lot last year, and I'm not saying it all rides on him, but LaMelo is. I think he's going to be great. I really do think he's going to be great. Miles Bridges, he's a supreme athlete, and I really do think they're going to do well. I think they might just get past the play-in. I think they might break like 6-7.
I would very much like them to reach like 6-7.
If not, they're definitely playing bound. I know they was playing bound last year, but they got their arse handed to them.
Yeah,
big time.
But don't forget they go deeper than that. Gordon Hayward,
Yeah,
PJ Washington,
yeah.
great big. Miles Bridges, yeah, great big. James Bouknight, he's going to be a big focal point for the Hornets this year as well.
Is Rozier still there?
Yes.
He's still there.
Yeah, Max Deal.
Yeah.
Max Deal, Scary Terry.
And then you've got LaMelo. I think they've got, again, we're not saying they're going to do it all, but a very dark horse.
They think they're going to
roster.
do it all, though. They think... Someone was in an interview, and they said about being overlooked, and the way that they come across wasn't that they're being overlooked like the playoffs. Like, oh, nobody's looking at us for the championship. Like, yeah, nobody is really looking at you for the championship.
Great energy.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
That's what they
yeah,
want from the team.
absolutely.
A young, hungry team is a
It kind of
dangerous team.
takes you back to like the Baron Davis Hornets squad, Mashburn and all them, where they thought they were the shit, and they done really well. And this is what I want to see going forward. I think obviously Michael Jordan at the helm. What more could you ask for? You know, he's not great at drafting, but obviously previously, but they've got a good squad now. I do really think they've got a good squad, and I'm thinking from the playing range, like probably if they do really pull out, they're looking like a 6-7 seed, if not the playing range.
I agree with that.
My other team out of the East that I hope could be a dark horse is Orlando. I think they've got a lot of young gunners. It's going to be a run and gun. They've got Suggs, Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba if he comes back.
Do you reckon they make playoffs, though?
Who's the other big?
Orlando, or do you reckon they fall short?
Yeah, I think they're going to fall short. But, you know, we could be
Potentially
looking
make
at
a
play-ins. I mean, this is what I'm saying. It takes you to the 10th seed, doesn't it, now?
Yeah.
With the play-in tournament. So I think we could look at the play-in. Who's their other big? I can't think of who their other big is that's been out. But when he comes back, he could be a problem. Yeah, so I'm going with Orlando and Charlotte.
I'm gonna rock with the Sixers. I think because of all of this, the Ben Simmons issue, we're not going to touch too much on it, but I think they are overlooked.
Yeah?
They've still got Joel Embiid. They've still got Tobias Harris. Seth Curry had a great year last year.
Seth, yeah.
You know, I don't think we can say that they're going to finish number one in the East, or maybe even top three, but they're making the playoffs 100%. And I would like to see them progress in the playoffs. You know, just to try and ascend from all the negativity, whatever's happened there, we're still a solid team. We're still getting it done. You know, that's what. And I love Joel Embiid as a player.
Yeah.
He could be if he stops with his poxy 3-point jump shots.
He shoots all right. He shoots all right from three. Like
He
he's
does.
not poor, but
But I mean, that's why you've got your wing shooters. You've got great shooters on that team.
yeah. Well,
when Danny
I
Green
think there's a
decides
good
to-
chance now. Like obviously with the whole Ben situation, I think there's a good chance that you will see him more inside now. I
Yeah.
think he developed a 3-point shot to by the sounds of things, the whole team was built around Ben, and he probably put a bit more effort in the 3-point shot to free Ben up. But
So where did Philadelphia finish last year? Just remind me.
they were number one
They were number one
in the
yeah.
league.
Yeah,
Do you think they're going to finish number one again?
absolutely not. I
So-
don't think they're going to finish top three.
So
But I think everyone's overlooking them as a contender.
See-
but rightly so, though, because if you take Ben Simmons out, who's your playmaker?
Ben Simmons on the trade block. You could potentially pick up a decent playmaker.
No.
The thing is with
Not a star caliber, I will say. Not a star caliber, but you don't necessarily need that when you've got...
I think
Joel
there's a lot of competition in both conferences right now. And I think without Ben Simmons as a playmaker and defensive ability, I think you're going to see Philly struggle a lot. And I think you need to imagine, if you're taking Ben Simmons out of the lineup and you can't replace him with someone of that caliber and who can bring what Ben Simmons does, you're going to put a lot more workload onto Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid is renowned for injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're putting enough workload through that night in, night out, he's going to slip up. And when he does, what are you going to have? You know, very rarely will Joel Embiid make 82 games in a season.
Oh, he's not.
Very rarely, and that's
He's not done it yet.
and that's with Simmons. Yeah, that's with Simmons, and that was with Tobias Harris and people like this. Okay, take all that out of the equation, put it all through Joel. He's going to get an injury, whether it be his lower back, which is obviously a problem, whether it be his knees, which are a problem. He's out of lineup, and then you're going to see basically a second-rate Philadelphia team, and I think they're probably going to slip to lower end of playoffs, 7, 8. Play-ins. I don't think they're making that top
That's
6.
fair.
It'd be interesting to see. I think it can go one or two ways. It'll either pull the team in together. I get what you're saying about the playmaking and stuff, but it'll either pull the team in together and they'll really come out all guns blazing, or it will collapse. It will collapse in on itself.
See Joel Embiid taking that kind of like LeBron kind of like mental state for the team. Like, right, he's out the picture now. Fuck Ben Simmons. Get a team around me, not this dude. And I think that will prove it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Out west, dark horse. I'm going to go with the Mavericks. Now, you might say they're not a dark horse. They're always going to be around the middle of the pack, blah, blah, blah. But Jason Kidd down there. Jason Kidd's a great point guard. Luka's looking slim. Luka's just ran the whole...
He's dropped from what, 230 to
what
is he now?
in the Olympic... I don't know what he is now. Don't pay attention to no damn weight. No, man. I ain't paying attention to weights. He's just ran Slovenia. Is Slovenia? Yeah, he's Slovenian. He's just ran a team through the Olympics, you know, putting up 40, 50 a night. I think we could be looking at good things out of Dallas.
Potential MVP this year, I would say.
Yeah, he's. I think he's up there. I think Kevin Durant's the favourite. But Luka, I think Luka's top 3. I think Dallas could be.
It all depends on Porzingis' health. I think for Dallas, like it's great. Luka's going to.
His health or his attitude?
Bit of both, really, isn't it? When was the last time he played a full season?
Well, he hasn't.
No.
But this is the problem with these 7-footers. They're never gonna. You're never getting full seasons out of them.
No, especially when they're built and they play the way that Porzingis does.
Yeah.
But that's a fair shout.
I'm going with Dallas, and then my other pick for the dark horse is. Well, you might not see this as dark horse, but Golden State.
Everyone just forgot about Golden State the last couple of years because the injuries, losing KD, and all of that. But still got Steve Kerr, still got Steph Curry, still got Clay. Yeah.
Providing Clay comes back the way
Clay will be back this season. He won't be early on, but he's already in the gym and he's got ups against Phil Duncan.
Well, like I said earlier, it's supposed to be January.
Looking like Jackie Moon out.
He's not. The thing is, he's not playing contact basketball yet. He's still.
He's a way off of that. Yeah, and he's not going to be back. I mean, you're talking an ACL and then an Achilles. Like he's going to be limited when he does come back, regardless.
He'll probably come back. I reckon December. Give him 2 more months and he'll be eased into it. Minutes restrictions, that sort of thing. But again, Golden State have got a lot around him that he's going to be missed, but he's not going to be.
That's the thing, and now for the first time since KD joined the team, it's looking a lot deeper and a lot more well-rounded than
the younger
when they won their first title. That was such a well-rounded team, and you knew your subs were coming in.
Yeah.
The gameplay stays the same, ball movement, good shots, rebounds.
Well, the younger guys have had time to develop now.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realise. You said earlier, Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
People who...
James Wiseman will be coming back this year.
James Wiseman will come back this year, depending how he comes back in his attitude, because he's one of those, again, does he love basketball, does he not? It's like the whole... Do you remember the whole Andrew Bynum?
Yes.
Like, he was...
I'm so great at basketball, I don't need to play it anymore.
Yeah, he's really good at basketball, but he's like, I just don't love the sport, I'm playing it for the money. It's like, well... James
kind
Wiseman
pisses on the NBA.
Yeah. But again, they've got Otto Porter Jr., another fantastic.
No, they got rid of him.
Did they get rid of him?
Yeah, they got rid of him. It didn't fit him. Nah, got rid of him, mate.
For-
I think he signed with Charlotte, I believe.
Cool, 2 former Warriors.
No,
So we've got-
no,
no,
my bad,
you're on
my
about
bad. I'm
Oubre.
thinking of Oubre.
Yeah.
I am
You're
thinking of
Oubre,
Oubre.
yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
mate.
Junior,
Yep,
he's still
no.
there. I'm about to say, he's still in the roster sheet, unless I've heard something in the last 2 days.
This website's
They look the
lying.
same. They look the same.
Yeah, but again, they've got a real good deep squad, and I think they're
Yeah.
gonna do bits. That's for damn
I
sure.
do think they're going to do. I think they are being overlooked.
Even without Clay, their starting 5 is strong.
Yeah. Look at the stack, I reckon.
Yeah, well, with Jordan Poole, obviously overreactions pre-season. Jordan Poole's looking good.
Didn't Iguodala make a return there as well?
Yeah,
he's
he's
back.
back.
He's going.
But I think this will be his last year.
It'll be last year, but as a mentor figure to someone
It's a
like
vet, isn't it?
Andrew Wiggins, who's used to coming to the league as a defensive tout,
Yeah.
to now have,
And that's a good.
Iguodala's sole focus this year, I reckon, will be the vet role, the
Yeah.
coaching youngsters.
Yeah,
I can't
has
see
to
him.
be.
Bring them
I
up.
can't see him playing.
He's not
minutes.
playing that many minutes unless it's like
But, I mean,
blowouts.
You look at Golden State since Iguodala moved on, their defense
Drop.
on a decline.
Yeah.
Even Draymond Green was a defensive presence, but now he's sort of on the fall off.
Yeah, Dre is on.
I mean,
He's
get
on
that
the fall off.
get that presence back, just even in the locker room, not even on the floor, in the locker room, and it can make a massive difference.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
I'll throw my West one out there then. Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes,
I reckon
I like it.
they've been coming up the last few seasons, and I think adding someone like Steven Adams into the mix as a physical big who you can rely on. The man's made of bloody steel.
Yeah,
But to work in a pick and roll situation with Ja Morant, and then you've got obviously Dylan Brooks, and you've got youngsters around him. I think they're going to be. They've got another year developed now. They've had a taste of the playoffs. They now know what's expected and what the demand will be. This year, I think they're going to come back hungrier, and they're a team that's just dogging. Like, do you know what I mean? A real dog.
yeah.
The
And we
fight in
love
them
that.
is ridiculous.
We absolutely.
Yeah,
love
I think they've always
And I
always
think-
had that sort
I
of
think
dog
everyone's
mentality in
always
Memphis.
compared Ja Morant to Russ in the way that he plays.
Ja
But
Morant,
think
I
Ja
would
Morant is
compare-
a lot more.
I would compare Ja Morant to young Derrick Rose.
He's a bit more organised. He's quick. He's explosive. And he will get to the rim, but he's not one paced
No,
like Russ is.
Oh,
Russ is
shit.
Russ
get the
has
ball.
got
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Russ
yeah.
has got one speed
Yeah.
and one
He
speed
catches
only.
it on his free throw line. He's on the other end of the court in
Yeah.
half a second.
I'll be keen to see how John Morant's shot will be coming back into the league, because that's the one thing he really lacked, was a consistent
Yeah.
shooting ability around the rim. Fantastic. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But we've all
Playmaking
seen
wise,
that
fantastic.
story, how that story ends.
Yeah,
with a
but
one-man
I
player.
think when you look at it, a lot of the guards historically, Russ, his form on his jump shot was never amazing. Like, it's always been a bit broken. Derrick Rose, he started fixing it and obviously got injured, which he can't really blame him for. But I think John Morant is one of these guys who, like a LeBron caliber mindset, good is not great, and he just keeps working on the things he needs to work on because he knows what he can do. He knows his athletic ability. He's going to go back into the gym and just put up 1,000 shots a day. That sort of mindset. My second West team is going to be the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
definitely
fully
definitely
agree.
think Utah are
Fully
being
agree.
overlooked.
100% being overlooked because of the hype around Lakers and how many horses they've added to their team. Utah,
Horses.
well, they've got horsepower galore, and they like veteran horsepower. But Utah have also been making some sort of changes to their team. They've added some good pieces. They've got good pieces. I like Eric Paschal from Golden State joining them.
Yeah,
Again, a good backup big. They can use Hassan Whiteside still there. A good 7-footer to play when Rudy Gobert needs a rest.
yeah.
And that's what I think that's going to benefit them, is that Rudy Gobert for the last few seasons has been overplayed. He plays maximum minutes. Do you know what I mean?
And I feel like in the playoffs he was quite exposed. Obviously, he won Defensive Player of the Year, and everybody started going at him,
yeah.
especially the Clippers, and they really did tear him up. And I think this is the issue with the stereotypical bigs now, is that the league is obviously a lot bigger. So your average height is just say 6'8", for example, but these 6'8" players are now point guards. These 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" players are point guards. So they've got the speed, they've got the handles. So they switch onto a big man, pull him out to the 3-point line, go round him, and throw it down on the guard that is switched off on a big. And I think this is the problem with the Rudy Goberts of the league. is that, yeah, they are absolute centrepiece of the defence when they're in the middle. When they're not, there is no defence.
No.
So it'd be interesting to see how Utah get on.
I mean, I would love to see Utah make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not a Utah fan.
Do you feel that
but I would
Donovan Mitchell needs that next level of breakout? Like he's good. Obviously, Dwayne Wade's there now, isn't he? So is he that next? Is he going to take it to that Dwayne Wade 06 level?
I mean, I don't think he's not there. Don't get
He's
me
definitely
wrong.
not there.
He's not there, but I don't think he's got a hell of a long way to go. The talent is there. It's just consistently putting it on the floor every night.
He takes some choosy shots in crunch time situations. I feel like he shot the losses against that Clipper team. You know, he come down the floor when his bread and butter should be getting to the hoop. He's a high flyer. He's athletic as it gets, and he's quick. And he's coming down the floor trying to catch up on points, shooting threes, dumb threes. You know, and I'm talking back to back possessions. You know, so his shot selection isn't great.
Do you think with D Wade being there, he's going to move more into the mid range rather than the long range? Because that was D Wade's bread and butter.
Dwayne Wade was getting to the hoop, wasn't it? You know, you watch his highlight tapes and it's just finishing around the hoop.
Yeah.
Dunking layup package was unreal.
I think his passing ability will improve. His IQ will improve massively with D Wade in his corner, and he needs to, because if you are a player that gets the best defender on you night in, night out, you don't forget you've still got good players around you. Bojan Bogdanovic, you've got Joey Ingles and people like that. Good shooters. And if you can get them guys open,
Obviously,
they're going to
Jordan
make
Clarkson
shots.
off the bench.
Jordan Clarkson off the bench is a walking bucket at the moment. You know, they've got a good solid foundation around Donovan, and I think too many people look at Utah and go, it's Donovan and Rudy. It's Donovan and Rudy. Do you know what I mean? But it's just not, because Bogdan can shoot up like 30 a night. You know, he's really good. When he gets hot, he's a walking bucket as well. But I think as long as people don't put too much pressure on Donovan Mitchell, you could see him doing really well. He could be like a Devin Booker breakout situation. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Well, obviously, he was coming, obviously going back to the playoffs last season previous, he was just coming off of injury, wasn't he? I think he'd been out for about 6 weeks. You know, maybe they can put some of that down to his injury and he wasn't 100%, etc., etc. But he needs to take it up another level. And I've said in earlier episodes that I don't think he's happy there. I don't think he's happy with Utah Jazz. There's been many issues, and he's very public about it. Whether Dwayne Wade will change that, I don't know. But they still had the best record in the West last year. They were extremely good at home. I think they'd only lost like 7 times last year at home. Well, I know the number was very low.
Which in the Western Conference is...
It's really fucking good.
It is really good.
I mean, Utah is renowned for being one of the toughest cities to come in and play against.
Yeah. Well, talk about underdogs and wildcards to a factor. Do you reckon Phoenix can run it back?
Yeah, this is the other thing. Yeah, I do think they can run it back, but it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah,
a lot harder.
They're going to need that.
I mean, the first question is, you know, if the Lakers are full strength, do they even make it out of the first round? You know, if LeBron's not injured and if AD's doesn't get injured, do they make it out of the first round? Yeah, they dismantled every other team they played, but the Lakers, was it 3-2? And then they ended up winning 4-2, didn't they? The Lakers got 2 out of them. Nobody else got 2 games out of them, obviously, apart from the Bucks. Nobody else got 2 games out of them.
Yeah, Phoenix won game 1, I think.
Yeah, the Lakers won game 2, then game 3, and then Phoenix won game 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And 6.
Yeah,
in LA.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, I do think they could run it back, but I still think a lot of luck's got to fall in their favour.
I mean, they got very lucky in not taking anything away from them. They
no, absolutely not.
Great.
Absolutely not.
Took advantage of everything that came their way, which is the whole point in the playoffs. But the playoffs is a second season, you know, and they got lucky.
I've got another one for you as well, which no one seems to be talking about at the moment. Do the Pelicans make the playoffs?
No. Absolutely
Get
not.
the fuck out of here.
Although, I will say, I do think Zion could be primed to have an MVP caliber season. This is going to be my hot take. Is Zion has an MVP season?
Can you be MVP without making the playoff brackets on a losing record?
Well, this is the issue, and this is why he won't win it. New Orleans got nothing going for them. They've been dismal for decades.
I just don't think they're making the right moves. I don't think they're adding the right pieces around Zion to
No, and they're going to have to trade him, or he's going to walk.
Like, if you look around him, they brought in Valanciunas for Steven Adams, for God's sake. He doesn't need more bigs. He needs shooters.
He's a big.
He needs, he needs guards to
he
play
needs a
off
decent. It needs a decent point man.
They should have kept Lonzo. The connection between Lonzo and Zion was great.
Yeah,
Brandon Ingram's obviously a great player. He's really coming to his own down there, but it's not between him and Zion. It's still not enough.
But if you look at the guard situation, they've got Josh Hart to choose from, or Devontae Graham, who's come over from the Hornets. Like, they're not great options.
No, Josh Hart's a bench. You know, he's a second or third.
Exactly.
No disrespect, but you know, he's a second or third stringer.
Into a Lakers team when they were,
when they only had LeBron.
yeah. Even before that, he
gave
really
up
break
like
in.
3/4 of the way through the season.
No, I don't think New Orleans will do anything, but I do think. I mean, Zion's numbers jumped massively last year. If he has a full 82-game season, I do think we could be talking like he's going to be top 5 in MVP race.
I think he could, but it all falls down to his physical.
When's Zion's contract year?
It'll be next year.
It'll be next year. So if they don't do anything this year, do you think he looks to get out of New Orleans?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think
he's
he's
going
to be the type of player to wait around because he's already making noise about get me this guy, get me that.
Well, the thing is, though, when you come into the league making so much bloody noise in the first place, and then for the last 2-3 years it's gone quiet.
Mate, especially where
he's got a signature shoe, signature clothing line now. With Jordan.
Where Ja Morant, obviously being from the same draft class, number 1 and 2, is making so much noise. He's now made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he lost out on Rookie of the Year, all right, because of his injuries or whatever. But it's almost like LeBron and Melo, where Ja Morant was the second best to a generational talent, but this time round, Melo's winning it all. And this is what Ja Morant is doing. So it's great to see in that aspect, but Zion isn't going to wait around. It's already come out, hasn't it?
So we're saying, instead of Dark Horse team, we're saying Dark Horse
player. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And we're going to move on to Dunk to Denied now, because you brought up a point about him waiting around, which he is not going to do. So Dunk to Denied.
It's time to Dunk to Denied. Dunk to
Denied. Let's go.
First question. Is NBA rivalries dead? Now, point is, players don't wait around anymore.
Yeah.
They move on. So when you got Chicago and Detroit of the 90s going at it for 10 years, same teams, the Pacers and the Knicks going at it, the Knicks and the Heat going at it, you know, LA and Boston, and you got all these players sticking around for generations, carrying their teams back to face one another.
I mean, I can't remember seeing a proper NBA rivalry since Lakers Boston's last finals together. Kobe and the Big Three.
But that's a rivalry based on history, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, it felt like a rivalry, that entire playoff series. Like, the crowds, that's what it means. It's, for like the past few years, it's been player rivalries rather than team rivalries.
This is the point.
You know? Like, Melo LeBron, that's been a rivalry since they've been in the league, and now that's over.
LeBron versus Toronto.
Yeah, LeBron.
LeBron versus Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
But with LeBron moving is where the rivalry stays.
That's it.
So
I haven't seen a decent.
As far as teams go.
So you just said LeBronto.
LeBronto, yeah. That's what he's called, man. LeBronto.
When he ran Toronto, yeah. So the team rivalries. Who's there now? I mean,
I think from the outside looking in, like, because obviously we're UK based, we don't get to see it from a fan standpoint. I think if you spoke to fans, Lakers and Boston will always have a rivalry.
Yeah.
I think they will always have that.
Based off of history.
Based off of history, yeah. So I think in that respect, going to games and the feel around the game when it happens, that will still be there. Clippers, Lakers, again. That's one that's bubbling because Clippers are not really being prominent.
I'd say like New York Nets. That will be the next big rivalry if we get one.
New
York.
I don't see it because of
Knicks are a long way off, and I don't think New York fan base will just automatically go to Brooklyn.
It's not.
They're loyal fan bases. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same with the Lakers and the Clippers. It's always going to be the Lakers. I wouldn't call them rivalries at all.
Yeah. I think you're right.
What I'm thinking is like, say Atlanta and the Knicks going forward. If we've got Trey in Atlanta for the next 5 years, and we have the Knicks team similar for the next 5 years.
I think that could.
Could we see, obviously with Trey being this massive New York villain now, could we see a good rivalry? And I think that's all you're really getting. The Bucks and the Nets going forward. If we get five years out of these rosters, which is a long shot. KD's 32. That's a long shot. There isn't rivalries anymore.
It's player rivalries. You saw it with Durant and Westbrook's probably the biggest one you can talk about. They went to separate teams, but the rivalries whenever they played was the one that was spoken about. It was always, no one really gives an F about Houston Rockets versus Golden State, but they gave a care about Russell versus KD and what was going to happen there. And it will probably that'll probably be the hype around it this year. It won't be LeBron versus KD. It'll be now Russell's on a championship potential team, like a legitimate championship potential team, and so's KD. That rivalry because they should have won a chip together. Who's going to get this time? That will be.
It just goes to show that it is a players' league now.
Yeah,
it's not about.
Yeah, and this is it.
Anything else other than the players now.
Yeah, this is it.
Which for the neutral fan, it's not bad.
Yeah, but for us guys that would like.
But when you watch
coming up in some of these.
When you watch the 30 for 30s and you're seeing Reggie at the Garden.
Oh mate.
The documentaries, what it makes for TV is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, the Bad Boys documentary, and then The Last Dance, where it's Michael Jordan versus everybody, but he still stayed with Chicago. Him going against the Bad Boy Pistons, and all these other.
But I personally think again that's not necessarily the team's fault. I think it's the league's fault for getting soft. Like the game's changed compared to. Back in those rivalries, it was a lot more physical. So people were getting, the testosterone in that league back then was just physicality. It was just, if I'm going to get, you heard it here first when Detroit went against Michael Jordan. Their plan was whenever Jordan went into the lane, just to make sure he hits the deck.
Don't let him get off the floor.
Don't let him get off the floor. You don't hear that now. No. It's always because no one actually drives to the paint. They will shoot from the outside now. But that's where rivalries will build. That's where the physicality, because your man hits the deck, your team will then back it, and everything's tension's high. And for the rest of that game, tension's high. Refs have to get involved and contain it. You don't see that now. Indiana Pacers when they had that obviously real solid physical team. Where's that now?
Yeah.
Who is that physicality?
Well, I think that was primed to be a great rivalry. Was that Indiana Pacers and that Detroit Pistons, like the Bad Boy 2.0. That was going to be a great rivalry, just because they both dominated the East. Obviously, the Pistons had got the chip, and the Pacers were the next in line. They should have won the chip before Malice in the Palace. They was primed to win the chip that season. And then obviously Malice in the Palace, and it all got broken up, and everybody got distributed. And I think that was probably the last time we saw.
But that's what.
What about LeBron and again, it's a player, isn't it? But LeBron and the Boston Big Three.
Yeah, with that Game 6, with that really.
But obviously that started while he was in Cleveland and followed him then down to Miami. Yeah. So we're just going to go straight up dunked that NBA rivalries are dead as far as a team aspect goes. From a team aspect. But player rivalry still is strong.
Player rivalries will always remain.
Yeah, and especially now that it's becoming more of a social media. People eat that up. They see their two favourite players playing against each other. It's a natural thing. Growing up, myself and Mike used to talk about, we've got Melo and Bron next week.
Yeah. All right then. Stats. So we're all going to go dunked dead.
Yeah.
Sweet. Up. Next up, are Brooklyn still the favourites without Kyrie? Say Kyrie retires or they scratch him from this season. can you still call them the favourites?
I'm going to say no, and I don't think it's purely on Kyrie either. I think Kyrie's a big factor, but I think there's a lot more potential for just real disruption to that team this year. You know, Blake Griffin last year had a fantastic year. Again, this year I can potentially see him having more injuries. Yeah, he played.
He's another year older.
He's another year older. You know,
he's on a minimum contract.
Exactly. He's going to get a lot more injuries. LaMarcus Aldridge is a great addition, but he's going to be on a minutes restriction due to health reasons, so he's not going to be playing in, week out. And it's a bit
that
like
dude is old as well.
Yeah, but
Like,
he's
He's
big.
good.
Yeah, as a
He's
big, I
good.
suppose you just adapt your game, don't you? You're not pacey, you don't have to be physical in that respect. But I think are Brooklyn for me favourites? No.
I think the league is too up in the air. Like, yes, they've got two of the biggest names in the NBA, which automatically brings eyes to you. You're always going to be one of the most popular teams in the league. You got Nets and Lakers, you know. And last year taught us anything that anyone can be on the come up at any time. It could be midway through the season, and then you will just see a team go, right, let's get it. And then they, like Phoenix and Bucks, we did not call that as a finals last year. We cannot even stress how far away we were from that.
Yeah.
Because we said again, Nets, Lakers.
But a lot of luck's got to play into it, and this is what I'm saying. So, you know, Kevin Durant's foot isn't on that line. It's the Nets in the finals.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And then potentially there's the chip. Without Kyrie, because Kyrie got injured. And James Harden was half the player that he is. I think they are. I think they are still the favourites because I think James Harden is that good. And I think he is being overlooked. James Harden is that good as a scorer, which he doesn't need to be, and he is that good as a playmaker. James Harden is probably second best as a playmaker in the league to LeBron, if not overtaken LeBron because of Bron's age. James Harden is that good of a playmaker. People didn't realise it when he was in Houston. He was a good playmaker, but then he's got to Brooklyn. All right, they didn't play much together, so, you know, you could say, oh, you know, it's just coincidence that he's played that well in the 13 games, if it was even that many, that they all played together. But he was a phenomenal playmaker.
He did play a lot better knowing that he wasn't the only guy out there. You know,
Yeah, of course, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easier to be that guy when you don't need to be that guy.
Yeah,
but
exactly. But I mean,
I still think they're favourites, not by as big of a margin, but I still think
would say that they are probably still leaders, but with all the disruption and everything that will come with Kyrie's situation, I think their stock drops substantially, but they still are the only team out east that really screams. Get me to the finals, other than the Bucks. I mean, we can't.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
It's-
Giannis coming through off the high. Giannis coming through with the realisation that he is the greatest athlete in the NBA.
I tell you what will be good is this Bucks Nets opening night, isn't it?
Yes.
That'll tell you a lot who comes out because that's a statement piece.
Will
right
it tell
there.
you a lot?
Yeah, it's a statement piece. That game.
It will be a statement piece, and obviously it'll be a ring ceremony thing for the Bucks as well. So,
Right, I'm going dunked.
I think Bucks are probably. I'd put my money on the Bucks to win that game. But yeah, I do see what you're saying. But opening night, I don't know if.
God, it's quite
Many
hard to
teams
gauge
have
anything
been
off of
slapped
opening
about after
night.
winning the championship on opening night. Many teams. I think the biggest defeat was, I think Miami won when they won in 2006. Their opening night was abysmal in 2007. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going dunked. I do still think they're favourites.
Yeah, same.
Last but not least, the man we have yet to mention, our good friend Ben Simmons. So it's obviously all still up in the air. Will he, as a member of the roster or as an opponent, ever step foot on the 76ers' home turf ever again?
Of course he will.
This season, no. Straight up.
Not as a Sixer.
Not as a Sixer, but not even as an opponent. I don't think.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
think
he will. Yes, he will.
You think he's going to step on that floor?
100%.
And you think these vicious Philadelphia fans are gonna just boo him?
Yes, because mate, you get paid to play. You don't get paid to get, oh, I can't play tonight because I'm going to get booed and get sworn at and get called every name under the sun.
Oh,
he gets paid to turn up and train, which
he's not doing.
Yeah, but again, I don't personally think that's all on Ben Simmons. People looking at this guy, Ben Simmons in the wrong, Ben Simmons in the wrong. Doc Rivers was the one that came out after the actual playoffs and said, do you think Ben Simmons is the person to take you to the next level and be the championship? And he goes, I don't think so. So
he said, I don't know.
Ben Simmons' name wasn't mentioned. He was asked if they could win with the current roster.
No, in one interview, Ben Simmons' name, they got asked specifically, is Ben Simmons the person to lead your team?
Yeah, and he said,
I don't know, which in every way under the sun is basically saying no. Now, if your GM doesn't back you, or your head coach doesn't back you, why the hell should you turn up to training next week? What you do, as a player in your career, you should be turning around going, well, if my own head coach doesn't back me, why am I going to put blood, sweat and tears out for a geezer who doesn't think I can take this team to the next level?
Because he's paid to do so.
He's dumb as fuck, and he's absolutely destroying his career by doing all of this.
I think we are looking at least 3 years before he steps foot on Philadelphia's
3 years.
3 seasons.
This year he's done out. He ain't got it in.
I don't think
LeBron
yeah.
did. When LeBron left the Cavs, good golly, that was the most savage crowd I've seen in years.
Yeah, but the way he did it was.
What, you think
more
this
of a
is better?
Shock to Cleveland.
You think this is better?
Yeah. Well, look, I think everyone expects it now. Like everyone's sitting there going, it's not going to be a shock that Ben Simmons leaves Philadelphia. Ben Simmons wants to leave Philadelphia, and everyone in Philadelphia wants Ben Simmons to leave. Right?
But LeBron everybody in Philadelphia absolutely hates him.
But when LeBron made that decision, everyone in Cleveland fucking hated LeBron. Did it stop him hitting the court in Cleveland?
Yeah, look what LeBron did.
Fair. That's fair.
Ben Simmons can't do that.
Yeah. What I'm saying is Ben Simmons
just...
ain't got the caliber to step in there and shut the crowd up.
Okay, then put it like this.
He hasn't got a renowned offensive game.
No, but he's got a contract to a new team where he's going to try and.
Okay, put it like this, right? He gets traded to
go back to your old team and. Fucking stick it to him.
He gets traded to Sacramento for Buddy Hield or whoever they decide to get rid of. So now he's taken that Sacramento team that he is the vocal point of to Philadelphia, knowing full well he is not going to win that game. I'm telling you now, he is not even going to step foot out on that floor. He's not getting on the plane to go.
That's going to be my target.
Because I think he's going to get drinks dumped on him walking out the tunnel. He's going to get popcorn thrown at him. He's going to get spat on. Philadelphia fans are savage, mate. Absolute savages.
Well, it is
I don't think it's going to be.
I'm sure he is. Well, the thing is, I'm sure he's expecting that. He knows what he's doing. He's not. He's
I don't think he does know what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
I think he's getting too many people in his ear saying, "Well, you should do this and you should do that." And
it's
a headline.
It's a soft NBA. Like players are soft as nowadays. Like LeBron is one of the most hard-nosed players. He's had to deal with adversity since the second he stepped into the league. He's had to deal with people hating him because he was being compared.
You saw more than a game when he was like 17 and some guy in a bar's just shouting at him.
Yeah, man. Ben Simmons ain't had to deal with that.
No.
And the Sixers have been more than happy to accommodate him up until this point. And then he just, yes, your coach, yeah. But Doc Rivers, you're absolutely right, said, I don't know.
I do feel your point.
But if I was Ben Simmons, I'd look at that as
motivation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you back.
Yeah. I'm gonna make you
in a different uniform.
Nah, because he can't though, can he? He can't get him back in a different uniform. LeBron went back to Cleveland and dropped 44 on what's the owner's name? Gilbert.
Yeah,
is it Gilbert? Dan Gilbert. He dropped 44 on him and he was like, you said I'm a snake. Fuck you. All right, they didn't win a championship that year. The next year went and won another one, and then came back to Cleveland because Dan Gilbert begged for him back. What? Who's going to beg Ben Simmons to come back to Philadelphia? Daryl Morey's going to say, you ain't coming back here, bruh.
Bitch.
Your team, your Sacramento Kings team just went 10-72. You ain't coming back. Yeah, I don't think Ben Simmons has got the minerals to step foot. I don't think he's even got the minerals to step foot in Philadelphia ever again.
Well, maybe not in
I'm
the streets,
gonna
Definitely not in the streets.
I'm gonna
Jesus
say he doesn't
Christ.
play in. He doesn't play in. Is it the Wells Fargo? He doesn't play there for the next 3 seasons.
I'm saying at least this season.
I'm saying,
And I think it's going to be some very timed injury or
There was
rest
a
period.
yeah. He's gonna be resting. There was a headline come out that apparently he might be debating because he doesn't want to lose out on the money, turning up. That'd be interesting.
That will. Because all of his teams turned on him now as well.
Well,
And the
Joel
thing is, when you step
Embiid's
into
had enough.
Philly, when you step into Philly as an opponent, you've got to deal with the crowd for one, which is insanely difficult because they're savage. They're one of them teams, they love you or they hate you, and it's a deep hate. But he's got to also deal with Joel Embiid, the biggest troll in the NBA.
Yeah.
Imagine
Who
you're
has
having a
had
wang
enough
game.
now.
You're having an absolutely waff game it's meant to be your redemption game. You're back in Philly. Imagine you're having an absolute stinker, and you've got Joel Embiid pointing at you. You got him dunking on you. He's just dismantling your team because no matter what team Ben moves on to, it's going to be a low end team.
It is, yeah.
Because then no team is going to want to give up a star.
Not now.
To get him, and that just leaves them in teams without stars.
Mm-hmm.
So he's never going to win that game coming in as a redemption game. He's got to deal with the fans and he's got to deal with Joel Embiid, his old teammates as well, who know his game. His game is not going to change this year.
I'll tell you what though, when he does step foot on Philadelphia's home floor, it'll be must-see TV.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll probably be the NBA's highest regular season viewed game.
Yeah.
That's that year, whenever that may be. You're going denied. You're saying he's not doing it this year, and I'm saying 3 seasons at least before he steps on the floor.
Mike, you can tell you've been absent from the potty because you're not deep with Ben Simmons' hate yet.
Yeah, it runs deep in our veins. I rate Ben Simmons. I'd probably put Ben Simmons up there as one of the best passers in the league. I do rate him, but he's not a franchise player. Phenomenal defender.
He's not the type of player that can shut up a crowd, especially a crowd like Philly.
No,
I'm sorry,
absolutely not.
It's just not. And I think if he does step foot on now this year, it's going to do more damage than good, I think, to him mentally.
Yeah.
It's not going to bode well for him because he's just going to get absolutely rinsed. No matter what, he'll get absolutely killed.
And that's I think the mental side of the game is his biggest issue. Straight up.
Oh, definitely.
Right, take us home then, big fella.
That's it. We're all done, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you for joining us. This has been the Flagrant 3 podcast in partnership with Harman Coaching Systems. It's been your boy Snaz, feeling too good, and Mike. Peace out, players.
Peace.
Peace.